What would a loss mean for the 49ers, first round of the playoffs on the road, Philly?
And I guess we've talked about it that, if they lose, giving up 40 points, you just say, well, the defense was bad. We had a great season. This was expected, all those things. If the offense underperforms, you at least enter questions where when we talked about the receivers, okay, Jawan Jennings was asked to step up and he didn't. Ricky Pearsall was asked to get healthy and he couldn't. Brandon Ayuk was asked to keep his sanity and he couldn't. 0 for 3 on those sort of things. Brock Purdy has still not won that, big road playoff game against a defense like Vic Fangio. Okay, all these questions continue to linger into the offseason, and all of that sort of just like goes, spelling it. And then the biggest one is, if Trent Williams misses this game, it doesn't sound like he's going to, but if he misses this game and they lose, he has a huge contract next year. The thought is you probably extend him, but then you extend him to age 40. You're going to have a bunch of void money for years to come. It's going to start to get messy with Trent Williams. So it's like questions start to linger on offense. On defense, the only question is, like we said, Robert Saleh, and maybe if they lose just because of McDaniel, he still leaves. But if they lose, maybe it helps them a little bit. But beyond that, all of the questions are going to come to the offensive side of the football. And for the most part, I think a lot of 49ers fans will be understanding. But when it comes down to, like I said, with Williams missing time and Pearsall missing time, those questions are just, they have to linger. And Purdy's performance, no matter what, has to linger. So,
yeah, they kept saying they're going to win with their offense. They're going to outscore teams. And if 2 weeks in a row they lose because of their offense and their defense plays well enough and doesn't give up a ton of points, but the offense can't score, then you go into the offseason with all these weird questions like, okay, well, is the offense good? Why did it break down at the end? What's the future of the offense? Brock Purdy and what? It was supposed to be Brandon Ayuk, but he's not here. Ricky Pearsall may or may not be a starting caliber wide receiver.
right.
Christian McCaffrey is your only running back. You didn't develop anyone. You didn't develop anyone young on offense this year except for Dominic Pooney.
Right.
So what's the plan? Or is this a situation where Kyle Shanahan built one offense that was excellent here and is struggling to reinvent himself? I mean, all those questions come into play if they lose this game and don't score a lot of points.
Right. It's that rebuild on the fly, but all of a sudden it's like, you got to accelerate this rebuild on the fly. Like, we are not rebuilding on the fly now. We are rebuilding because, like I said, Trent has questions. Pearsall has questions. McCaffrey's getting older and just touched the ball a ton. Usually running backs who touch the ball as much as he did this year kind of have a dip the next season. George Kittle's getting older and finally, not finally because it's unfortunate, but had injuries, that, maybe are starting to catch up to his style of play, all of those sort of things. You're looking at the 49ers and saying, like, a reboot is not far from here in terms of, I said their biggest chance to win is they have running back one, tight end one, left tackle one. All three of those guys are getting a little bit older here, so it does bring that, I don't think it's a last chance with this core, but it's getting closer and closer. And you think, are the pieces going to fit to where, is Bosa going to get healthy? And then, well, Bosa's healthy next year, but, Kittle's injured, or, whoever. Is it all going to come together, again? And you just wonder about, is that the end for this core? Because it's starting to age out and they're really starting to have to, make tough decisions.
Yeah, because I feel like you could understand them not winning the Super Bowl this year because they didn't really put those expectations on themselves. It's supposed to be a transition year. And they kept pointing to the Rams. Like, look at what the Rams did. The Rams went to the Super Bowl, won it, but then they had to get rid of a bunch of expensive vets. They had to take on a bunch of dead cap. They retooled on the fly. And now they're a good team. I mean, they had a 10-7 season where they were 1 and done in the playoffs, and then another 10-7 season where they were like 2 and done in the playoffs, but they really, really retooled the right way, and look at them now. And we can do that too. We just give us some time and we'll draft well. Well, look at who they drafted on the Rams since they went to the Super Bowl. Kyron Williams, Quentin Lake, Byron Young, Puka Nacua, Jared Verse, Braden Fitt. I mean, they have a whole new team with a bunch of stars who are on their first contract. The Niners don't have that.
They're hitting.
They're winning with their old guys still.
Right. And what's so funny is you're always like I said, oh, Pooney had half of a good season. So Pooney's okay. He's kind of a building block. Pearsall, when he's on the field, he looks pretty good. So he's half of a building block. Renardo Green up and down. And when he's healthy, he looks pretty, all right, you got half a building block. Upton Style looks pretty good, but has his flaws. He's a little bit like
Are you really going to give Pooney a second contract though? Like, Kyle's never given, on the Niners, he's never given a second contract to a guard that I know of. Maybe they will, but he'll be expensive. It'll be $20 million a year.
An article I wrote, I think just last week was, who are the building blocks on the 49ers? And the article I was reading was, saying Michael Williams is the piece that you build around. And I was just sitting there thinking, Like, really? Like, Michael Williams is the like then the 49ers are in trouble if Michael Williams is like the piece that you're saying, this is our future, this is what we're going to build the team around. All these other teams have these young studs. We have Michael. I'm thinking, oh boy, that's not good. It is true. I mean, it's true that if Pooney's your big hit and he's a guard, and Alfred Collins is your big hit and he's a run-stopping nose tackle for the most part, I mean, those are your two biggest hits from the last two drafts at this point. Those aren't impact positions right now. So that
I think
spot,
Michael's a good player who makes the defense better, but you can't take that player with the 11th pick. I mean, he's a D end who gives you no pass rush when he's playing D end. So if they pass on first or second down, you're getting no pass rush from one of your edge guys. And then as an interior rusher, maybe he'll develop into something worthwhile, but now he's not. So he's a run defender who's
right?
265.
You're
Good one.
hoping he's like Keon White over the past couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess a loss wouldn't be the end of the world. It's how they lose. How they lose. Yeah.
It's just going to, like I said, the spotlight is going to shine probably, I guess, on John Lynch, because the last two drafts and those players, because like I said, that's your core right there, is Pearsall, Pooney, Renardo Green, Upton Stout, Alfred Collins, and Michael Williams.
Great point. Let's talk about it. So they're starting Kazir White because Nick Martin is a bust until further notice. They're starting Jair Brown because they let Talanoa Hufanga go. They've made some bad personnel decisions. They've had some bad drafts, and that's why they're not as good as the Eagles. That's why they're probably going to lose.
And they're taking a bunch of like fourth round running backs and receivers who make no impact, and like take a few fourth round guards there, and or take a fourth round defensive tackle, and like Jalix Hunt on the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't know what round he went in, I forget, but it was like the third round. Like take Jalix Hunt there instead of that, Isaac Garendo. Take an edge rusher who, I know that edge rusher has flaws and he's a little undersized and maybe he can't defend the run the way you want him to, but like, look at what it's working for the Eagles, instead of that now. Oh, well, at least you have a fourth string running back, and that's a really nice, pick. Oh, at least you have Jordan Watkins, and he can't even play with all these, missing receivers.
You're so right, dude. Between Isaac Garendo, Jacob Cowing, Jordan Watkins, and Jordan James, it's just 4 wasted picks. You never use them.
And what were those running backs going to be besides a backup to McCaffrey ever?
Anyway,
the entire time. Like, why aren't you just taking just a shot? Take a lottery ticket. Who cares if it misses? If it misses, it's Isaac Garendo anyways.
It's like taking a kicker in round 3. Like, what are you doing?
That's it is. I mean, actually, the more we talk about it, like John Lynch is, I think, the guy that like is not the problem, but because San Francisco has made it far. But if you look at like where the roster has issues, you're saying John Lynch has like been arrogant to an extent with his picks of, we're fine, I just need a kicker. We're fine, I just need a backup running back who maybe can be a return man. We're we're fine at the trade deadline, I just need Keon White and Cleveland Farrell. Like these seem to be John Lynch decisions that are hurting us, it seems.
I mean, it's like you could say, well, we won 12 games, no one expected that. What a great year for the coaching staff.
Right.
To get the absolute most out of this team. But ultimately, we fell short because the depth wasn't there. And we had to sign guys off the street because our drafts weren't good. Yeah. And now to like close the gap with Philly and Seattle, who are clearly better than us, we got to draft really well.
Really well.
And we're looking at John being like, that's your draft record here. The guy who took Ricky Pearsall and Jordan Watkins and Jordan James and Isaac Garendo is going to lead us out of this? I don't know about that. So if they lose this game, they might have to shake up the front office in some meaningful way.
Or at least ask questions for sure. Yeah. And I mean, I keep saying Kendrick Bourne, who was not on the roster, he was not in the plans whatsoever, but had an impact in this season, more impactful than DeMarcus Robinson, who you plan to have such an impact on this roster. These sort of, but I mean, then John Lynch gets Mac Jones, which was great. But yeah, I mean, like you said, I think what you look back at this season and you say, and we've said it all season, impressive by Robert Saleh, impressive by Kyle Shanahan, to have been able to deal with the deck that they were handed, which was handed to them by John Lynch. John Lynch gave them a bad hand, and they've really impressed with what they've been able to pull out of it. It is an interesting perspective. It's actually, in my opinion, very true that that's how it's gone.
Check this out. So Lynch and Shanahan drafted Debo in 2019 and Ayuk in 2020. And since then, we've pretty much given them the benefit of the doubt that they know how to draft that position.
Right.
since then, last 5 drafts, here are the wide receivers they've picked: Danny Gray, Ronnie Bell, Jacob Cowing, Ricky Pearsall, Junior Bergen, Jordan Watkins.
Ouch. Yeah, and multiple this year in late rounds. And you say, oh, well, he hasn't put a lot of investment into it. Most of those are late round picks. I keep saying, then put your investments into offensive linemen, defensive linemen, like swing for a little better than Danny Gray. Oh, we really need a kick returner, and that's Danny Gray's ceiling. So let's draft Danny. Like, really, what was Danny Gray's ceiling when they drafted him? It wasn't higher than Taylor Gabriel. That was the best he was ever going to be.
That was one of the worst picks of the Shanahan tenure.